Hey, there's a bunch of exotic swords in the game right now, so which is the best to use for whatever? Let's take a look at their damages. All of this footage is done with the swords at 340 light with the increased damage node activated over the increased ammo one. The tests will be done against the Celebrant of Oryx, which is used for its high health pool. I realize this isn't a max light level enemy, but this is about the numbers, and all of these swords will do their max damage to this enemy. For reference, all of the swords do 1,399 damage to it as a basic attack. First up is Jung Wolf's Howl. You get it from completing the Rise of Iron campaign, so it's pretty simple to get. Its signature ability is an overhead smash that does some damage and applies a debuff to any target in the area of the smash that will cause them to take 15% damage for 6 seconds. The enemy will also burn for 5 ticks of damage over 3 seconds. The heavy attack costs 10 ammo and will do a total of 4,545 damage to the Celebrant. The initial smash does 4,370 and the burn adds an extra 175. Second up is the Razelighter. It and the rest of the swords mentioned are obtained from the Taken King Exotic Sword quest. Its heavy attack is an uppercut that does massive single target damage. The heavy attack costs 5 ammo and does a total of 7,284 damage to the Celebrant. This damage is done in 3 small rapid bursts of 2,428 damage. The damage is spread out over enough time though that some of the ticks can miss. Third is the Dark Drinker. Its heavy attack is a huge spinning vortex of void damage. Anything in this vortex will take consecutive hits from the spinning sword. The damage is pretty hard to count since the numbers pop up so close together, but I'm confident in saying that the heavy attack does 9 ticks of damage, totaling 8,739 damage. However, I could be wrong, so just to have the numbers up on the screen, 8 ticks would be 7,768, and 7 ticks would be 6,797 damage. The damage is dealt over a slightly longer period of time than Razelighter's attack, but only barely. The last sword up is the Boltcaster. Its heavy attack is much different from the other swords in that it's a ranged attack. This will deal damage over time in the area that it lands. Like all other Taken King exotic swords, this one costs 5 ammo for the heavy attack. As long as something stands in the electric storm from start to finish, they will take 12 ticks of damage, totaling 4,668 damage. It's difficult to count these numbers, but the electric storm gives a distinctive pulse every time it does damage, so it's easy to count off that. Alright, so there's the numbers. Based off those, if you're looking for a sword that does good single target damage, either Razelighter or Dark Drinker will be the way to go. Razelighter's damage is done over a slightly shorter period than Dark Drinker's, and its animation is also slightly faster, so you can get your damage in quicker over the long run. We can just go ahead and put Boltcaster in the column of it's cool to use in PvP but doesn't really do much for you in PvE. If you want a ranged arc weapon, try a rocket launcher. The alarming thing to me is that Jung Wolf's damage is essentially the same as Boltcaster's. You're paying a lot of ammo for that 15% increase to damage, which fortunately does stack with other damage increasing effects like Tether. But is it worth it? In my opinion, no. At least not for the 10 ammo that it takes to apply that effect. With max ammo option, you are only capable of getting 7 total heavy smashes, 8 smashes if you are using the increased ammo capacity node. So in theory, your sword could deal 31,815 damage if you smash right as the damage debuff ended. This would give a target 42 total seconds of 15% increased damage. Of course, you have to remain close to that target for that amount of time, so your secondary is limited to like a shotgun or a fusion rifle. In contrast, you could use Razelighter 14 times with its increased damage state for 101,976 damage. There's no real definitive answer here. Is there a fight that you think it would be worth it to give up your heavy weapon, and in an exotic slot at that, to allow your team to do 15% extra damage for a given time? Given how short a lot of the fights are, and how often you die getting into sword range, and how short damage phases are, I'm just going to say that in its current state, Jung Wolf's Howl isn't worth it. It is a first great exotic sword if you never picked up one of the originals, but for now, if you want to kill something quickly, use Razelighter or Dark Drinker. Those simply do more damage and kill things quicker by themselves, rather than worrying about having others to help you out. On an ending note, I'd like to thank my math teachers who I adamantly told that I would never use this math stuff. I'm sorry. I was a dumb teenager who thought he knew everything. I hope you found this video helpful. I'll see you next time.